this video is going to be a follow-up to my last video about repairing the Xbox. As I told you, I wanted to borrow a Xbox power supply from one guy, but unfortunately all of my friends are PS3 fanboys, and I couldn't find. So what I'm going to do now is trying to powering the Xbox using a PC, a standard ATX power supply. This one. So this is a 1230 watts. It's a lot of overkill, but it's just okay for test purposes. So what I'm going to do is to disassemble the power supply again and attach the cables to the power supply, and I will show you how to do that. It's quite easy. We have to attach the 12 volts, 5 volts and PS on and sense, and also ground to the power supply, and it's gonna be working just like a normal power supply. So the first step is to disassemble the Xbox power brick. I did it in my previous video, but I'm just going to do it very quickly again. So if you don't have time to watch my other video, just you have to start by removing these rubber fits from the bottom of the power brick, and for that you need a flat screwdriver. Just put it under one of them, any of them, and just try to take it out of the place. It's quite easy. It used to be easy, but it's not easy now. And try not to damage the case. But if your power brick is dead, so it doesn't matter. But I'm not sure if the power brick is dead, and I want to be very careful. So maybe the problem is within the Xbox itself. Okay, two of them are gone. Okay, the third one, and we're gonna do the last one. Okay, this one was easy. And if you remember, what you have to do is using a TX8 screwdriver, Torx 8 security bit, and I have to find it first. So as I told you, you need a TX8 screwdriver. I really recommend you getting one of these screw kits. It's very useful. You can open everything with them, including your Xbox, your iPhone, iPad, iOS Mac, almost everything. So for this one I'm gonna use the TX8 bit. Okay, if I can take it out. So again, it's one of these star-headed, and there's some sort of hole in the middle. Okay, I'm just going to unscrew. First, the security. You have to unplug the power supply from mains, so you can't kill yourself. And yeah, it was disconnected from the other side, so it was okay. But just to be safe, remove the mains from the power supply. Okay, let me lower the voice of my TV. Okay. Okay, when the screws are off, you can just put it on the bottom side and just lift the top side. And you have to remove the fan connector. It's quite easy. You just unplug it like this and you just put it aside. And now what we are interested in, as I told you, first I have to remove the whole thing. Okay, see here, this is the cable that goes to the Xbox, and we have 5 wires. We have a yellow one that is our 12 volt rail. We have the black wire that is ground. Then we have the white wire that is sense, and I don't think that we have to connect it now. Then we have the red wire that is 5 volts standby, and the blue one is the PS on, or power supply on, and that's the signal that tells the power supply to be turned on. And how it works is if you short the PS on to the ground, then the power supply will turn on. Okay. And as I told you, I don't want to destroy this power supply, especially the cable. If you are going to do it yourself, I recommend you to cut the wire from here and use the wires from here. So you have to make the cable, cut it somewhere from here, and then try to cut it more and bring out the 5 wires. But in my case, because I don't want to destroy the cable, what I'm going to do is to desolder them from the where they are soldered into the PCB of the original power supply. So for doing that, obviously you will need a soldering iron, and what you have to do, the metal shield on the back is soldered to the PCB in 2 places on both ends. So what you have to do is to desolder these two some sort of connectors, and then you can remove the shield. Then you have access to the soldering points of the wires on the back side of the PCB. So I'm going to turn on my soldering iron. Then when it gets heat up, I will continue working on this. Okay, I have turned on my soldering iron, and I have set it to 360 degrees centigrade, and it's for you Yankees out there, it's like quite a lot of Fahrenheit, and I don't know the exact number. And as I told you, I'm going to desolder the back shield, the metal shield, from both ends. It should be quite easy, and I recommend you to use a solder wick that can absorb the solder while you are desoldering it. So it's quite easy process. You just need to first bring your soldering iron and warm it a little bit. Then apply your solder wick. Okay, we are heating out the solder. Then as you are doing that, you have to lift try to lift it like this. It's quite easy. And we will do the oh, sorry. Now we will do the same thing for the other end. Just make it warm again a little bit. Then apply your solder wick and try to absorb the excess solder into the solder wick. And while you, okay, it's quite easily came off. So what we are dealing with now, if my camera gets focused, okay. These are the solder points for the wire, the cable that goes to the Xbox. So what I'm going to do is to desolder them, and yeah, try to attach it to my power supply from PC and turn on the Xbox and see if it works. Okay, now that we are going to work with the PCB itself, you have to lower your soldering iron's temperature to something like 320 or 300. I think 320 is the good temperature. So I'm just waiting for my soldering iron to cool down from 360 to 320, and I'm gonna cut the used part of the solder wick. Now it's time to do some action. Actually, I was wrong because it seems that this board has been wave soldered using the lead-free solder, so you still will need a high temperature. So I'm going back to 360. So because the lead-free solder has a higher melting point, and you have to use a hotter setting for your soldering iron. Okay, it's almost there. Okay. And make sure that you're desoldering the right solder point, because otherwise you can take out some components. And be really careful about the SMD components that are around the solder points, because you don't want to heat them up and make them out of place. Because for beginners, it's really hard to put back those SMD components in place. So that's just a tip. And as I told you, if you want to do it for yourself and you don't want to use the power supply anymore, you just need to cut it from somewhere near the end and just make the cables, and you will save yourself some time, and you'll save yourself the hassle of desoldering the wires. Okay. Okay, I've used many of most part of the solder wick, so I have to cut it. And back again. Okay, it seems like that we have desoldered most of them. Just trying to pull them out. If you can't pull them out, then you have to remove more solder from the solder points. So I have to try more. Okay. Okay, almost all the cables came out. We still have to apply, desolder more of the 12 volt and the ground rail. Now the 12 volt came out easy. I'm trying with the ground one. It seems that a little bit solder is left on the solder point or solder joint or the hole. Okay. The ground one is quite pesky, so I almost removed all the solder. Oh, it came off. Okay. What you will end up with, depending on the tactic you use, you either desolder from the PCB or you just simply cut it from here and then make the wire naked. And what you have to do is to connect the blue one to the PS on of your ATX power supply, the red one to the plus 5 volts, the yellow one to plus 12 volts, and the black is naturally ground, and the white you don't need to connect it. And I'm going to show you how to make the connection also. But before that, I have to clean the tip of my soldering iron, and cleaning is a quite easy process. What you have to do is apply a little bit of solder to the tip, and the flux in the solder wire will take care of the cleaning. Then you just simply clean it using this a sponge or something else. Okay, now the tip of my iron is quite clean and shiny. I'm going to turn it off. Okay guys, what I have here is the 24 pin of the ATX power supply, and this is the connector that you normally use to plug it into the mainboard of your PC, if you have seen one. And the cable for the Xbox is here. So what the connections, how you're gonna do them is if you remember, the yellow one is your 12 volt, so you connect it to one of the yellows on your ATX connector, the 24 pin, and you have the black one, you just connect it to one of the black pins, black pins of the connector here, and the blue one you don't need to connect, and the white one or gray one you don't need to connect, and you will be left with the red one. And obviously you have to connect it to a standby voltage that is 5 volt, but you may confuse it with the red ones. Red ones are also 5 volt, but they are not the standby voltages, and you have to look for the purple connector that comes from the purple wire, and connect the red one to the purple connector here. But depending on the manufacturers, they use this is the standard color for the connector, but you have to double check your power supply. The maker of your power supply may be using different colors, but this is the standard. So what I'm going to do is just simply connect the yellow, black and red to the yellow, black and purple. And then I will connect it to the Xbox. But then to turn on the ATX power supply, you need to short the green wire to one of the grounds. So this is usually, you can do it with the paper clip. I'm gonna show you how to do that. So right now I'm going to make a connection between these things, but because I don't want to destroy the connector from here, because these cables have a thick ending and they don't just simply plug here. What I'm going to do is to use some extra wires, so I can put some wires, for example, for the for the 12 volt. I just simply put this into the yellow one. Don't mind the color of the cable I'm going to use, because I have only this cable at the moment. And the other side I will just solder it to the Xbox connector. This should be quite easy. So I'm going to turn on my soldering iron again and start doing this. But first I have to make some wires. I mean, cut them in some nice length. I don't have a tool to shorten, I mean making the wire, so I'm just going to use my teeth. Like this, quite easy. I'm going to make 3 more. Actually, I think I had one more with another color. Yeah. Oh, I'm lucky. I also have black and yellow, so it's gonna be a nice color match. So for the ground, I'm going to use the black wire, of course. So this is going to be my ground. And this is going to be for my ground, and this is going to be for the 5 volt standby. And you remember it was the purple one on the ATX connector, and I just need one yellow for the 12 volts. So what I'm going to do is soldering it to here, then I can just easily remove it and put this back into the PCB of the original power supply of the Xbox. So I'm going to use my holder. It's a quite nice tool. And I'm gonna use some solder on the one end. And just connect it like this. Or I have even a better idea, because I have some heat shrinks. I can just play this game very safe. So I'm going to use some heat shrinks here, if I can find some. Okay, I have the heat shrinks. I'm going to cut in a nice length. Put it here. So when I'm done soldering, then I just use the heat shrink to avoid any kind of shorting between the wires. Okay, apparently I had to put this from top side, the sheet shrink. Okay, and just using the heat from your soldering iron, without touching it, try to shrink the heat shrink, or alternatively, if you have access to a lighter or something, use that, but be careful not to burn yourself. Okay, this is enough. Because I'm going to remove it, I just want to test it. But if you are going to use the external power supply all the time, then it's better to do this heat shrink properly. Now we are going to do it for the 12 volts. Okay, maybe the lighting in my room is not very good. Okay, I'm going to do the same process, this time for the I will zoom in so you can see it better. Going to solder the yellow wire, the 12 volt, and for that we cutted some yellow wire. Okay, same thing happened. Just going to apply some solder to the end of the wire, because later I want to remove it by the solder wick. Okay, now I'm just applying the yellow wire here. Easy. And I'm going to use some heat shrink, and again sorry, heat it up. Now it's time for the plus 5 volt standby, and you remember the color was red, but we have to connect to the purple wire on the ATX power supply. So applying some solder. And then okay, it's done. So we are almost done, and apparently I ran out of heat shrinks. I have to bring more. No problem, I have a lot. Okay. Then shrink the heat shrink. Be careful not to burn yourself. I'm not going to be responsible for that. Okay. As I told you, connect the red wire to the purple wire of your ATX connector. In my case, it's in the fourth pin. Okay, I have to. Okay. And then the yellow one to well, actually I could use my yeah, okay. Going to connect the yellow one. And now what we are left with is our ground, the black cable. Just connected to, there's a lot of grounds here, so it doesn't matter. Okay, it's now ready. Now I'm going to plug the ATX power supply and bring the Xbox and see if it works. So wait a little bit. Okay, now I've connected the cable that we made from the Xbox is connected to the back of the Xbox, and I'm going to turn on the power supply by shorting the green wire with any of the grounds. So let's hope this will work. And I'm going to put it on this side because the fan of the ATX supply is this side. So I'm going to connect the green wire with the ground. Now trying to no, we are not getting anything. So the problem should be with the Xbox. So yeah, there's something wrong in the Xbox. So I'm going to try to open it and see what we're gonna do. And just to prove you that the wiring was okay, I'm just going to probe the end of the Xbox cable with my multimeter and see if we have 12 volt and 5 volt there. So as you can see, this is our 12 volt, and this is going to be our another 12 volt. Then we have 5 volt, and everything is okay. So we are giving the Xbox with sufficient power, and it's not getting turned on. Yeah, going to just connect it again and try again, but I don't know. So my guess would be either there's a problem with the touch button here, and maybe there's problem with the chipset of the Xbox. I don't know. I have to take apart the Xbox and see what's going on. So at the moment I'm going to turn off the power supply and try to crack out the Xbox. Okay guys, it's time to open the Xbox and see if there is something going on wrong inside. It could be the bad RF port, and the touch button is not working, or maybe we have some bad solder joints on the power connector, and yeah, we have to see what's going on. So for opening the Xbox, you need a plain screwdriver. I showed you this before, and also the same TX8 screwdriver. So you start from top side. You have to remove this vent hole, and you just can simply put your flathead screw and just push it out like this. It's quite easy, and put the things aside so you don't miss them. or lose them. So then for opening it, you have to remove this top cover, and it's in place using some tabs. So you have to remove this tab. I believe these two are just for demonstration purposes, and there are nothing inside. These two tabs, these two, and these two. So I'm going to do this right now, and you just simply put your screw there and release them, or it's better to put your fingers below them, so when they get released, you don't put them back in the place. Oh, they went back into place. So again, okay, that's one. Two of them are released now. One more. So we have done with one side. Go to the other side, and the other side. Simple as that. Then when you remove the top cover, you have to remove the wireless module. As it's in place with the TX8 screw, you have to just unscrew it. Just loosen the screw. Don't pull the screw all the way up. Just then grab the wireless module and take it out. It's just in place using a normal USB plug. Okay, now this side is done. We're going to the other side, the bottom side that the hard drive is. So remove the hard drive cover, the vent holes. Then for the other side of it, just use your thin screwdriver, and we're done. And same story with the top cover. You need to release the tabs. Maybe you can see better from this angle. Okay. This side it's a little bit more pesky. Okay. And this side is also off. Then you better to remove the hard drive and put it somewhere safe. Then what you have to do on the back side of the Xbox, if you look from the place that you remove the Wi-Fi module, you see these two tabs. You just need to release them with the screwdriver. So one of them is removed and the other one is removed. It's really easy. I hope you can see those two tabs. These two, you have to put your screwdriver behind them and push them to the front. When you did that, just put it like this. Okay, now we are going to do the same thing for the back side. These are also two tabs, but one of them is much deeper. So when you open the first one, Then sorry. Then on the sticker here, on the warranty, well, actually you have to avoid your warranty, that's for sure. But then here on this marker, beside the UL, is a tiny hole. If you put your finger and feel it, you can see where is it. Then you just need to put a very tiny screwdriver inside and push it like this, and then your Xbox is ready to come out. So what you have to do is to remove the top cover, just simple, the bottom cover, sorry. And now for removing the front panel and the top panel, what you have to do is to unscrew some of the screws here, and I will show you which of them. Okay, if you look it like this, the screws that you need to do is this one, this screw, this screw, this screw, and this one. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Let me fix the camera. So if you put the Xbox like this and imagine you're the camera, and the screws that you have to take out is the one, it has marked with the name C, screw number C, and always keep your screws somewhere safe. The screw named B on the shield, you can read it. Then a screw named H, then a screw named L. Okay, that's all. And then put the Xbox on its bottom, but then you have to pull the top side. Oh, apparently I think I missed one more screw. Yeah, a screw named F. This one also should be removed. Okay, put it like this, then pull the top side and pull it gently out. Okay, this is your top cover. And you will be left with the front panel, but don't pull it because it's connected with a ribbon cable or a flat flex cable to the RF board. And what you have to do is using a pair of tweezers. Let me zoom. Okay. The front panel is connected to the RF board using this flat flex cable here. What you have to do is to gently pull this blue cable out of the top of the connector like this, and then gently just pull it away, because this is very sensitive and it can break very fast. So now we have our Xbox dismounted. So what I'm going to do now is let me fix the camera first. What I'm going to do is to connect the power cable that I made with the ATX power supply back into the Xbox, and try if I can by touching around here, try to see if it can be turned on or not. Okay, I'm just turning on the I'm turning it on. No. No, it's not turning on. So I have to do some further investigations. Okay, I'm going to remove this DVD drive. You see the DVD drive is connected with a SATA cable and a power cable. You have to gently pull them out, like this. This was the power cable, and the SATA cable also should be come out. Be very gentle because they are prone to be broken. Okay. After you unplugged it, you just take out the DVD drive. It is not screwed by anything. Just simply can take it out like this and put it aside. Then what you are left with is the placeholder for the SATA, the hard drive, and there's another ATX 8 screw here that you have to unscrew it so you can remove the placeholder for the hard drive. And well, you have to remove the cover of the fan also. Then removing this one. Yeah, also there's on the top of the this you have to unscrew this screw also. So using the ATX screwdriver, it just should come out easily. Okay, now we have access to the main board, and there are some test points that I'm going to check if we have voltage across all the components, and see what's going on. So I'm going to connect the power. And get probing. So any part of the shield of the Xbox is your reference ground point. So you can just leave your black wire of your multimeter anywhere you like. I'm going to put it here and start probing. So I first probe the plus 5 volt standby. I will put a link to the test points on the motherboard so you can see it. I cannot just show you the mainboard because this requires a macro lens that I don't have. So we had 5 volts there. We have 1.15, 1.15. We have 12 volts here, 12 volts here. So we are getting power, but I wonder why this thing doesn't turn on.